Hi guys, it's Nana Marie in Quebec City. I really shouldn't be doing videos, I'm very sick. But, my spirit isn't sick, and she just keeps wanting to keep going and talking about what I have to talk about. And, I'm very aware of my story being very out there. In two ways that I've never heard from anybody else, putting together the past lives of Jesus, King James, and Elvis Presley. Somehow connecting them to me and my son and my father. Now, I couldn't make this shit up out of my head. I couldn't make this shit up. And I don't have any memories of past lives. The reason why I have the knowledge is because Trevor, my deceased son, showed up with beings of light who surrounded my bed and downloaded me with the historical history. And it is hysterical. It is funny. It's so fucking funny. But we're living in a complete deluded lie, and I need to, still, because you don't know. You think this is serious, and you're not focusing in on your own stories because of so much world events going on and idle stars, and I don't know. I don't think I saw Taylor Swift in the last 5 minutes. It's just like bombardment with these freaks. That they are trying to get you, and always have, to not know the difference between reality and fantasy. And I can safely say people don't know the difference between reality and fantasy when it comes to other people that they see on the screen. All along, I've had a bad feeling about Lisa Marie Presley. I haven't really talked about it, but a few times I did, like when she died. I had written her at Graceland a month prior to her death. And I just told her my feelings, that I felt I was her paternal grandmother in spirit. Gladys Love, Elvis Presley's mother. I have so many connections to that world emotionally. And then when the beings of light came, it was very hard to believe, and I really didn't believe it. But I started to. And I wrote Lisa Marie Presley at Graceland, and all of a sudden, on Twitter, oh, my screen went blank. All of a sudden on Twitter, I would see, people that look at your profile, you can tell who they are, who to follow, and it was generals. It was military. I kind of had a feeling I tapped into something. And because I know the Gladys Love story, I know what happened to her. And that's all I can really talk about, because you can't talk about other people's stories, not even your own kids, because you really don't know. You only know your own story. So I know she was murdered. I know that Elvis became a military asset. All of the stars that we're going to be pumped out. We're going to be assets to pervert the masses, to bring up new songs, rock and roll songs that would get the imagination thinking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And that was the intention. And then as you're just going through life, you don't know that you're being groomed. So I know that's what people have been for since Hollywood was invented, groomed. And most of the women that you see on the films are men in drag. And I know it's very hard to tell. I can't, I know a lot of men are also women underneath, but they've somehow turned them into men. I find that one harder to see, but I see it's out there. And it's just all of them, like all of them, guys. Like, I can't think of anybody that's not. But I also know the other world problem we have is human trafficking with children. And I'm wondering, where are these people getting their children? Right? Where are, I mean, because they can't have them, right? Two boys together cannot have a child. That's written in the heart. But they're coming from somewhere. And you guys, you got to know that Mother Teresa was a man involved in human trafficking in India. And I had a past life in India that I haven't really talked a lot about. It was a totally different scene than the ones with Jesus and Mary, King James and Mary, and Elvis Presley and Gladys Love. It was a totally different scene. And I always wondered, I wonder why I had that past life revealed to me. And it's revealed to me because it helps me connect all of the dots, all of the way through. And I know that we've been taken over by some sodomite entity who really hate your creator, your mother, and have been wiping her out. And they've been dressing up boys and creating images to make you think that women think a certain way. Like girls just want to have fun, and man, I sure feel like a woman. All of these songs, are coming from men. But if you think it's a woman, you're gonna hate them after a while. You're gonna despise them. And you do. And the reason why is because they're men in drag. But way off point now. Because of Trevor, I keep going back to Elvis Presley. It's the closest past life I can feel. And I was wondering first about Lisa Marie Presley, who suddenly died at the age of 53. And she was a Satanist, guys. She was a Satanist. Her kids were Satanists. They were Satanists. And they came from the military. Priscilla, I don't know who is that. Riley Keough is obviously a boy. Obvious. If you can't see that, there's something wrong. It's obvious male right there. But Priscilla, is harder to read, I find. So I've been going through quite a few images because I can't figure out how Elvis Presley was allowed to live a normal heterosexual life. I don't think he could. Nope. literally everything in the media is a stage show. And these actors are told, if you want to be famous, you're going to have to go along with the new image. Now, he may not have been a sodomite with Priscilla, but Priscilla is a man. And Lisa came from somewhere. So you've got to realize that the military is very much involved in the human trafficking of children. The generals in particular. Do you understand what I'm saying? Her father was a general. His father. But look, you can look for markers, they can hide it pretty good. But look at how the hands are. Her hands are bigger than his hands. They couldn't hide that. Here's another one showing the hands. And notice that she's got the 3 claws. The 3 claws right there. And he has to cover only half her hand because she's got huge hands. Who wears a wedding dress like that, covering the whole body? Arms, unless they're trying to hide their body. But once again, I'll just point out the hands, that it's his hand. Yeah, it's messed up. So let me just show you how they fool you in their dress. First of all, she's got a male collarbone. Male collarbone. And male arms and hands. Notice they're longer than Elvis. The arms are long and the hand, well, of course they have to keep their fingers up because they know. And then they wear these little hipster type tops so that they look like they have hips. But it's all a psyop, guys, and it involves children. And these stars are trapped. They're trapped. The angels transplanted me to Quebec City after my event. And it was to make sure that I would be able to figure this all out. And I am. I don't know how much more there is to unravel. Other than that, historically, we've been moving around the world lots of times. For example, in 1750, my family came from Norway and Germany to Virginia, to build Virginia, to build America from Virginia. That was 1750, Peter Sr. and Mary. And then my grandmother came from Norway and met her German husband, who came from America, from the Grosclose family that came in 1750. So it's a deliberate story. I come from a star cluster family where we're traveling all over the place all the time. And you have to know, so have you. You have been in many different roles on Earth. But we've been duped and fooled and mixed with bad DNA. And they're trying to create a black slave race, of just clowns, no intelligence, so that they could control you without the intelligence of your own heart. And it's worked. It really has. Look at the map. I mean, if you look at a map, you can see the very little areas that white people originate from. Very, very little. There was another little thing I was inspired to talk about yesterday, but I didn't feel like doing a video, and that's about China. You notice China has been around for a long time. In Canada, every single corner store in British Columbia, when I was a little girl, if you ever went to a corner store, it was a Chinese store. Always. How did that get set up? That Chinese people got all their little corner grocery stores. How did that get set up? Now, in British Columbia anyway, it's Asians, East Indians, as well as Chinese owning the stores. But the other one is like the Chinatown. In every single major city in the world, they have a Chinatown. And you gotta go, why do they get a Chinatown? Why don't I get a Australia town or Brazil town, Russia town? It's Chinatown everywhere. And I knew in the 90s in British Columbia that all those Chinese people coming over from Hong Kong were not coming over because of a failed lease or an eviction notice or anything like that. I knew they were communists. I knew by their behavior. I was an employment manager at the time in 93, 94, 95. I was the employment manager at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. And we hired a lot of them. And they're communists. They worked very, very, very hard, and they pushed other people to work very hard. They make other people feel bad if they didn't work till 10 o'clock at night. I remember all that very clearly. And then I was thinking about Alaska on the map and thinking how not far away from China Alaska is. And it's even attached, I think, like to Russia. They changed the country names and whatnot, but basically China's attached to Canada. If you take away that America won Alaska and all that, or look at the map and just see that whole upper area. They call them Indians, Inuits, and to me, I gotta be honest, I cannot tell the difference between an Inuit or a Chinese person. I really can't. Just can't tell the difference, guys. And I worked in Vancouver, British Columbia, where we had a lot of different multicultural people. One time I was the program manager for a job club center in Vancouver, and everybody was looking for a job, and a lot of them were immigrants coming in from other countries to look for a job. And I could tell the difference between somebody from Vietnam and Korea, somebody from China to Malaysia. I knew all of them. There's certain, it's not really even in the look, to be honest. It's like with men and women, it's not in the look that you can tell all the time. You can be fooled. It's in the behavior. It's always going to be boiling down to, Is that the way a woman really is? Or is that the way, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Maybe I better shut up. Anyway, I'm having a strange time. I'm doing a lot of meditation. I have hope that this is going to leave me because the pain is leaving me for the most part. For the last 2 days, I've been a little stiff, but the pain has really subsided. And but now it's just a matter. I'm not eating. I can eat one day, and the next day I'm on the toilet or throwing up or something all day. So it's just a really terrible poison within me. And for me to uh, I would like to just say, hey, I'm going to heal myself here, but I can't. Um, I'm on a journey, and I don't know what to do, right? But what I can do for myself and to teach you guys for yourselves is think about the future. And I had to decide, well, am I living or am I dying? And I realized that I am living. Because clearly I'm not dying. And because things are clearing up. One thing will clear up and the next day something else will come, a new disease or something. But there's a reason. And the only problem is I don't know what the reason is. But I am doing a lot of meditation, and I have a feeling I can predict the future. And how I predict the future is looking at my grandma. Now, my grandma was married for 40 years to the same man. She had a long marriage. I had a long marriage too, 20 years to one man. But she had a long marriage to one man, Grandpa, for 40 years. And then she divorced him because she found bobby pins that didn't belong to her. So she ended up, her daughters put an ad in the personnels of the newspaper of North Vancouver, looking for, to match her up with some gentleman, I guess. And they got Grandma together with Mike Cassina, a Russian, right? A Russian that lived in Penticton. And he had a nice little house up there. She was 68 years old and a housekeeper for rich people. And she ended up marrying him. I went to her wedding. And she was 68 years old and ended up having a beautiful end of life. Like lots of grandkids. And her house was full of beds, cots down in the basement for anybody who wanted to come over and visit. And Mike Cassina is always there just calling all the girls princesses. He was just in his glory with Grandma's family. He needed a family around him, and she needed a house. So, and a man. And she ended up being with him for 30 years. So that's 70 years of marriage. And she died at 94 in 1996. And I'm pretty darn sure, since she's told me, I am a reflection of her. I'm going to get through all of this, learn things from it for myself, for my story, and I'm going to come out on the other side, and I'm going to get on with the purpose of my life. Now, what is the purpose of my life? It's to enjoy it. It is to enjoy it to the fullest. And that's exactly what I intend to do. All I need to know is, what do I want to do? Because I never really thought about it before. Yeah, keep thinking I'm dead. So I am making plans. And you don't have to know, if you're sick too, or if you got struggles and you're stuck, you don't have to know how you're going to get out of it. You just have to want out of it. That's it. You just have to want out of where you're at. And I would really encourage people to do meditation, which is just going into a place where you don't have to think. Just focus in on your breathing. It's the easiest way to get down there. If you want to, you can count down from 10 down to 1 to help relax your body. And then visualize, imagine your body relaxing, muscle by muscle. If you have thoughts that are crowding up your brain, just imagine a bucket over there and throw the thoughts in the bucket. And the point to all of that is not to do any work. It's to listen. And if you want, you can ask questions. Have an intention or a purpose before you go into a meditation. And when you get the answers, you may hear the answers. Sometimes it's in an opposite gender voice, and sometimes it's in your own voice. And either or, listen to what pops up. Listen and trust yourself. So this is where we're really gone wrong. Nobody believes in themselves. Nobody trusts themselves. They have to ask, they have to raise their hand, and they have to go along in single file order. It's just, it's a mass formation to hell. And I'm letting you know that that's where this is going. It's going to hell. And artificial intelligence here is trying to replace our original emotional intelligence. And artificial intelligence is perverted, okay? But we, get this, are not. We are not perverted. Now, I know in my world, in my life, I have slept with a shitload of people. And when I think about it, I go crazy. I go, oh my God, oh my God. Because of the beings of light and Trevor showing up, it's all of my life story is right in the forefront of my head, right? So I know exactly what I did. And it is not like nobody's mad at me. It's not anything like that. It's me. It's me. I'm looking at my story and I'm going, oh my God, you stupid fool. And that's all it is, really. You're going to laugh at yourself and you're going to come right back. And this is artificial intelligence. And, we're better than this. Way better than this. I think that's all I have for now. Anyway, I'll sign off. Hopefully I can get a decent video out in the next few days. We'll see how it goes. Bye, everybody. Oh, I forgot to show you this picture I have. When I saw this picture show up in my Google photo, black and white like that, I knew it was a message to me about something, but I didn't know what. But we repeat history in an artificial way. It's always an artificial way. Now, about that black slave race. This is my grandson, Dylan Thomas. Now, he was adopted out to a 58-year-old lesbian right after Trevor died. And he was like 18 months old. And I lost him. I lost the love of my life. But guess what? That's all on purpose too. Because he was raised a mess. And he plays video games in his room. He's a very good soul, they tell me. He plays video games and just pretty much keeps to himself. He's not on social media, and he sure as shit doesn't hang out with the family. But the reason why I say it's the end of the line for my thread, my cluster family, is because he won't be able to have children. He's already 26, and when children are so disconnected from reality, the odds of them having children are slim to none. So I don't see it. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But no, I'm not wrong. It's the end of the line. It's the end of the line of my thread. I also have a granddaughter, and a different story altogether. Um, Again, she's 20, going to be 24. Way beyond anybody in our family having kids. I can't see her having them. But she is having a good life. She is with a really rad guy, living on a horse farm. She got, a mechanic's seal, red seal for mechanics, because she wanted to be like her dad. She's living on a farm. I'm telling you, even though she hates my guts because of stories and whatnot and feelings, that she doesn't know me at all, but um, she is happy. And that's all I need to know. She's going to be happy. But I don't think she's going to be able to have kids, because I don't think our star cluster family is about that. We're not coming back. And I believe that a lot of people are not coming back. The Christ flame is not coming back. People with love, who do not want to live artificially, fake, in fantasy, perversion. They want to live for other reasons, to play, enjoy with the human senses, and to develop our emotional intelligence, which nobody knows a lot about. But I promise you guys, we are far more than what the books and movies have told us. All you need to know is that you have all the answers in your soul as much as I have in mine. Because we're all of one on the other side. And you're going to laugh.